Welcome, everybody, to Traveling Board's 2024 Holiday Gift Guide. This is part one of a multi-part series where we're going to be going through our holiday gift guide that we released this year. If you have not met us, my name is Chris Barrows, and I'm one half of the Traveling Boards team. I'm, of course, joined today by my partner.
I'm Anthony Batista, the other half of Traveling Boards, and we're really excited to share with you some of our favorite holiday picks for not necessarily the gamer in your life, right? But these are really games for anybody on your list.
Yeah, and before we get into it, it's important to note that there's a few symbols in this gift guide, and Anthony, you can maybe share a little bit about what those all mean, because one of the things is we want to make this guide easy for you to understand, and we're going to dive into 5 of the games on this list in this video.
Sure. So some of the iconography that you will see throughout the guide, and by the way, earlier this week we published the full guide, which we will share again the link in the comments of this video. You can check out the whole thing. These are just kind of some cherry picked choices that we wanted to highlight along the way. And so you're going to see some of these icons next to a few of these picks. They're pretty self-explanatory, but in case you didn't figure it out, the stocking means it is a pretty good stocking stuffer. We're talking size-wise, right? It's a small kind of box. You will see some games categorized with this kids logo, which again is pretty self-explanatory. These are games that we know are good for children. However, I should point out, we have specifically found games that are good for kids, but you as a grown-up will not hate playing them. That is really part of our curation process here. And then finally, some of these are just card games. Now, you may see some overlap in some of these symbols, but just so you know what you're getting into, if it's just a card game, you can expect a pretty simple rule set and, not a large kind of footprint in general.
So with that, let's get right into the first of our 5 games for this video, and we'll go into some of the things that we are here to talk about. And that first one is Trio. Now, Trio is a game that came really for us into even our awareness within this past year. It is a beautiful card game. It's a simple card game where you have cards numbered 1 to 12, and you are trying to get rid of your cards. It's all through this matching of cards. You're trying to really pair them up. You're really getting rid of the cards, I should say, by pairing up trios of cards. So it's really great in particular, even though this doesn't have the kids symbol on it. I will say certainly my 7 is from a 7, 8 up, depending on your child, may be able to grasp this concept.
Yeah.
Because you ultimately cannot simply play any of the cards. You can only play the cards on the outside of the hand, the first number or the last number. And it's got memory, because I'm going to be asking you, if I'm playing this game, do you have a 1 or do you have a 12, or not actually the specific number, I should say, but what's your highest number? And we're going to be remembering what each other's numbers are, in addition to some cards in the middle of the board that is
Hopefully remember.
hopefully remember. So it's got that matching component.
Yeah.
Again, looks beautiful. The cards on these are really well done. That you're going to get a lot of gameplay out of them. And I think it's a great family hit, especially around the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, you name it. This is gonna play well.
Yeah, it's not going to take up a lot of room on the table. You have a slight little grid of 8 cards, I think, face down, but that's it. And again, it's a great sort of next step game if anyone is familiar with playing games like, Rummy, where you're trying to get sets of cards, or really any of those, old kids memory match games where you're flipping over something and trying to flip over and find the match. It kind of combines those two things in an interesting way. So yeah, we've had a ton of fun with this one, and it's guaranteed to be a good time. And that's
Definitely.
Trio.
And that was Trio. So that was the first on our list today.
Right,
you're going to notice a lot of different styles of games as we go through this as well.
Oh yeah, totally. We're trying to get something for everyone, and one of the things that basically that we just as a premise kind of follow is we know there's a game out there for everyone, regardless of their interest, age, skill level, whatever. There's something out there that you will have fun with. We guarantee it. Just a matter of finding it. So speaking of that, next up, a good find for another stocking stuffer would be Azul Mini.
Yes. Now, honestly, I will say this: even if you get the full size Azul, you will not be disappointed. The reason we included the mini version is it's a beautiful travel size game that could fit into your stocking. Azul is what you would call a modern classic. It is a game that you are going to have tiles in the middle of a board. You are going to select on your turn all of one type of tile from the segment in the middle of the table in front of you. There are these round circles, really beautiful looking. And you're going to pick maybe all the reds, maybe all of one of the other patterns, and you're going to put them on your board. And you're trying to build out these patterns, and you're going to score points for rows, columns, and also getting all of them on the board. So a variety of ways you're going to score. The mini version is great because it has its own little bag. It fits right in. So I love it for travel. But if you get the big version of this game, you're not going to be disappointed either. Definitely small box, big gameplay. And Anthony, I will say I do love the overlays that we point out on here. The overlays are really nice for keeping those pieces in on the board, whereas the larger game, that's an expansion. It's not something that comes with.
Yeah, that was one of our only complaints about the initial game when it first came out. Not so much the square, tiles that you're building with, but the little tiny cube for your score tracker can very easily get moved off your board and be like, oh no, how many points did I have again? So this, smaller version, but the plastic overlay thing is really kind of clutch. And to your point, you take this out, there's that sound of all those tiles clickety clacketing in that bag. You're going to play something, right? There's something in that bag, and they're just so fun to just arrange and stack. And it's like, I don't know, it's a good feeling. So
it's a great feeling. They do sound good in that bag. So definitely one that we highly recommend. And it is fair again to say this is a modern board game classic at this point.
Yeah. Simple gameplay, but a good amount of strategy and a lot of thinking going on. All right. Excellent pick. You did a great job with these so far. Let's see what your number 3 is. Oh boy.
So I had to put this in. Now, this game, Bluey, Keepy, Uppy. Bluey if you're a parent. I get that. But Bluey, Keepy, Uppy is actually based on a game called Lupin Louie. And Lupin Louie is a fantastic game. Bluey, Keepy, Uppy has the gameplay mechanic of Lupin Louie, but it's doing it within the Bluey theme and the Bluey IP. It's only a 2 to 3 player game. It is the Lupin Louie game could have been more than 3. But that's because Bandit, the dad of the healer family, is the one holding up the balloon in this game. So thematically, they made it a 3-player game. But what's cool about this game is you're going to have this balloon moving around and coming down and potentially popping the balloons on your individual trays. And you have 3 of them. And you don't want that to happen. So you've got a paddle that you're tapping to hit the balloon up, keep the balloon up. It's Keepy Uppy, y'all. So that's look. If your kid likes Bluey, you've probably seen this on the shelf in a Target or something nearby you. If you're in the United States, highly recommend this one. It's a ton of fun, simple gameplay. Just because it really is a quick game. I do say you can play this in more of a tournament mode where every time someone gets a victory, they start the next round with 1 less balloon, which I think is a fun way to play. But other than that, really, who doesn't love Bluey? And this is, great for the family, has a kid who loves Bluey and wants a quick game to get to the table, highly interactive, and you're going to be having a lot of fun laughing as all your balloons pop, or hopefully don't pop if you're the victor. So that is,
and once you set this up a couple of times, your kid is most likely going to be able to set it up themselves and play without you kind of being there. But again, if you do have to play this one as a grown up, it's not the worst time. I'll be honest with you.
My daughter sets this up on her own, and at 6 years old, she sets this up and plays it all the time, and honestly has fun sometimes just letting it spin around and hit it. So there you go. That's the third one that I put on the ones I wanted to highlight, and that is Bluey, the Keepy Uppy game.
Fantastic. All right, moving right along. We've got another great stocking stuffer game, and I know this is one that we both enjoy.
Yeah, this is by Oink Games. It's called Deep Sea Adventures. It is, we're talking about simple gameplay with a lot of these, but when I say simple gameplay, this is roll to move with a catch. You're rolling to move, and you're going to do this over multiple rounds. And you are going to be moving down these tiles that you've put on the table. So you can play this anywhere. That's really one of the great things. I played this having pizza locally at the restaurant. We just set it up. We brought it and played it there. We've played it at dinner at our house. We've played it at friends' houses. But you're rolling to move your deep sea diver, your scuba diver down. And on your turn, you're going to roll, move, and then have a choice. Do I pick up the tile that I'm on, or do I stand and kind of keep moving down? Now, at a certain point, you decide if you're going to want to turn around or not. But if I pick up that tile, I now have one tile. I don't know what the value of that tile is per se, because they all have random numbers. But as you get deeper, the numbers get higher in value. So you kind of want to get lower. But for every tile you have, when your turn starts, the oxygen level goes down. It starts at 25. So the more players you have in this game, it's interesting because what they're doing is going to impact what you're going to do. Plus, when I roll, that one item that I have means a 5 means I'm only going to move 4 spaces because I have the one item. If I have 2 of these items that I picked up, a 5 is only going to let me move 3 spaces. So I still have to get back. I'm not going to score if I don't make it back. So really simple gameplay. Again, I think it's got this really nice hook to it, and the fact that it feels thematic. It does feel like, oh man, do I drop this piece now and maybe just go on forward with the one because it's, I know, a higher value.
Yeah.
So it's a ton of fun and just a lot of gameplay, and you're going to want to play this over and over.
Yeah, it does. It's a good time because it does encourage a good amount of table talk, and again, to your point, the more players, the better in this one. If you can play at max player count, go for it. Because at some point, that oxygen level is going to really start to diminish. And then it becomes this race of getting back to the sub. And why did you go there? Why did you turn that one over? It's almost like the feeling of a sand timer in a lot of older games, right? That we all know and maybe don't love. But without the sand timer, but it's still that very tense. You only have a little bit of time to get back. And yeah, to your point, replayability, definitely out the wazoo and easy to transport. Great pick with Deep Sea Adventures. And we should point out that Oink Games as a publisher has quite a lot of excellent games that are almost all this size box, really, and they all make good gifts and would fit in stockings as well.
Yeah, highly recommend you check out Oink Games as a whole. And again, I know when you look at our guide, by the way, I'm going to point this out now. We do have Amazon links in there, but we will always encourage you to shop local if you can. And I just want to stress that if you can shop local, please do. We've got links there to make it a little bit easier, but ultimately, we love shopping local ourselves. And there's a lot of great places near us, like the Learning Express and other things. In Learning Express, particularly in Verona, but I know they're all over. So, that's just one place, obviously. So, but I do have one more, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's round it out. Last pick for this part 1 of our gift guide, a very tall box game.
It is a very tall box. Look, if you've got a child who likes chess overall, or maybe has played a few games of chess, this is the preferred game in my house in terms of a chess-like experience for my family. I've found at least it's one of them. And why is that? Well, Onitama, you're going to have 5 pieces. You've got a main. The best way I describe this to people who've played chess is you've got a one main piece, which is the equivalent of the king in a lot of ways, because you take this piece out, you would win. Mm-hmm. You've also got 4 additional pieces. They all start in the back row on both sides. This is the difference. There are only 5 cards in this game. These pieces all move based on the cards in the game. They're randomized at the beginning of the game. I'm going to know what my opponent has and what moves my opponent can make based on their 2 cards. It also has a beautiful board. And by that, I mean, it's a rollout. It's a rollout board.
Mat kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a mat. It's gorgeous. It fits in the box. You're going to make your move. And then that card that you picked up is going to move to the side. And now on the next turn, after your opponent goes, they're going to do the same type of thing. And they're going to take the card that you used on your last turn. So when you use a movement, you might really like it, but after you've used it, it's gone and your opponent has it until they choose to use it. So it's very easy to teach, but you can't master it in the sense of chess because every game is different. And I like that. It teaches this flexibility in how I'm going to think strategically. So that critical thinking piece is huge here. I love it. It's so replayable. There's expansions for it that add more cards, but start with this base game. And I think you're going to have a great time, especially if you've got a family member or a child who really likes the chess experience or that 2-player experience.
Yes, definitely. I've had a ton of success with this game because I did for a while teach chess clubs, after school chess programs, and I almost inevitably brought this game by like week 2 or 3 because of all the things that you just said, right? And I'd even argue that if you grew up playing this game, talking about in the future, like if your child is exposed to this game before chess, I think it makes them a better chess player, and they will learn chess easier. Yep. Because you're always thinking about, what is my opponent going to do? And that was one of the hardest things for me as an instructor to teach, right? To teach that in chess is to think like your opponent. In this game, you can do that because there's only 2 choices that your opponent's going to have. The cards are face up. It's public information. So you know what the possible things are that your opponent can do, which is a great mindset and strategy for chess. So yeah, agree 100% with everything you said about Onitama. And this is not the last you will hear of chess adjacent games on a future video. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and I would point out that we have a variety of programs that we're running. You're going to see us in and around the Verona, Montclair, Cedar Grove area running some family game nights. We hope you'll come by and check them out. We're going to have games like Onitama. We're going to bring a lot of the stuff that's on this holiday gift guide to those events. So please come check it out. And we certainly hope you will take the time today and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. We're going to have reviews of games. We're going to cover games that you might want to think about purchasing for birthdays, for holidays, whatever it may be. But that is part 1 of our holiday gift guide. We hope you will come back soon and check out part 2. And if you have any questions, please just leave them in the comments and we'll make sure that we get back to you with them in a timely manner so that you have all the answers you need as you're going through your shopping lists and trying to find that perfect game for that special someone in your life. But with that, thanks for traveling us with here on Traveling Boards, and we hope to see you at one of our upcoming events. And again, stay tuned for part 2.